questions here. When you want to really measure, you need to collect the data. And we already know the problem is y variable. And y variable is in trouble because some x variables are under trouble. So you need to know what are your y and what are your x. Otherwise, you do not know where to collect the data, isn't it? So you should have an idea about x as well as y so that you can beautifully design your check sheet and go for the data collection. Is your measurement system capable and adequate? I call a measurement system as capable if it produces data without any error. I will also call my measurement system adequate if it is capable of working in the range within which I produce parts. My range may be 10 plus or minus 0.001. 10 mm plus or minus 0.001. Now my ordinary vernier caliper is not adequate. Vernier caliper is good, but it is not adequate because what is my working range? 10 plus or minus 0.001. Maybe I go for a dial gauge with a better resolution, isn't it? So your equipment have to be capable. Capable means free from error. Adequate means it should still give you accurate readings within your working range, isn't it? Do you have an appropriate data collection plan? When you want to collect the data, what is your plan? How many data you will collect and who will collect? Where from he will collect? And ultimately, the data collected should be free from measurement error as well as sampling error. Is the data collected appropriate for analysis? If the error is more than 10%, it is not good. If it is less than 10%, it is good, right? The data is worthy for analysis only if the measurement error is less than 10%. And now you collected the data which is worthy for analysis. Collect the data, understand your baseline. Where do you stand as of now in terms of sigma level, in terms of ppm, in terms of dpmo, in terms of your yield? Be it whatever is your practice, you calculate using the data. And now what do you understand? The baseline. So these are the questions generally asked in the measure phase. And now I will play a video and ask few questions at the end of the video. Now I have selected a particular frame from the video. And do you see the ball traveling and then hitting the stumps? You see a white color line. You also see a blue color line. Can somebody tell me why there are two different colors used here?
Blue color is a prediction, sir.
Very good. Blue color is a prediction. Beautiful. Then what is white color?
The impact.
The real one.
Impact of ball.
The real path of the ball. Am I right? If you know the real path of the ball right from the moment it is released from the bowler's hand, where it pitched, how much it bounced, and how it travels, if you know all those things, literally you can predict its future path. The blue color line is drawn by the software. And the software is telling you when the ball is allowed to move further, allowed to continue further, it will definitely hit the stumps. How this decision is taken? By using the data. Am I right? The data of the path followed by the ball, its speed, its direction, everything is captured. As a result, the software is able to draw the blue color line and gives you a wonderful clue that it is going to hit the stumps. And so the batsman is declared out. So the decision making has become easier by drawing the blue color line. So drawing the blue color line is called regression analysis. Is it clear? Drawing the blue color line is regression analysis. How can you draw the blue color line? With or without the white color line? Come on.
With white color line.
Only with the white color line. If the white color line is with you, blue color line can be drawn. Because blue color line is a mere extension of the white color line. So how do you draw the white color line now? Only with your data. Am I right? And that is why data collection is important. If you know the present, Also, if you know the past, future can be predicted. Future is your blue color line. Present and past are your white color line. And that is why data collection is very, very important in any business. Only when you know about your past and your present, you can predict about your future. And that can happen beautifully if your data is free from error. Now coming to the point, the white color line, is it a curved line or a straight line? Come on. The white color line,
Curved
if you-
line.
The straight
straight line. It
line,
looks like a
straight line.
straight line. It looks like a straight line in my screen, but is it really a straight line? If you throw a ball onto the sky, will it go in a straight line?
No,
No.
sir.
So what is that line? It's a curved line.
Curved line.
So your blue color line should also be a curved line. Am I right?
Yes.
If you extend a curve, the extension will also be a curve.
Mhm.
So a basic QC tool like a scatter diagram can tell you whether your white color line is a straight line or a curved line. You get my
Curved.
point? If you use with the data, what will you do? You plot some diagram. You plot a scatter diagram now. You plot a scatter diagram, right? And now you understand your white color line is a curved line. And now you extend the line. How do you extend the line? By deriving the equation of the white color line. If the equation of the white color line is derived, the regression equation is ready. If regression equation is ready, software or you yourself can generate the blue color line and you can understand where are you going to hit, whether your ball will hit the stumps or not. And this is exactly called regression analysis. So
Sir.
regression, yes,
This is the middle stem is called the central tendency.
yes, middle stump is central tendency. Yes, middle stump is in the center. All right. But in the game of cricket, whether you hit the middle stump or you hit the off stump or leg stump, it is out and the ball is found to hit between the middle and then off. And so, no, definitely the batsman should be given out. So same way you have to work in your organization. So you will never go wrong while taking the decision, right? Is that understood?
Yes.
Very good. Right. And there are tools which will help you, collect the data correctly and then do the analysis correctly. These are operational definition. What is operational definition? If whatever I am explaining, if you understand in the right way, then my operational definition is good. How to teach you, I know. Isn't it? Same way when you want your people to collect data for you, you have to communicate them effectively, isn't it? If they could understand only Hindi, then probably your way of communication should be in Hindi, because ultimately I want the end result to be great. All that required to do it. And if you also write all the communication, be it technical, non-technical, in an easy to understand way, at the same time, the communication has to be effective. And that is called operational definition. When you say lead time, you have to make your people understand what is exactly lead time. If there are 10 people working in the project, all 10 should understand the meaning of lead time in the same way. Then only we will collect the data without error. If my understanding is one thing and your understanding is something else, then all of us collect the data, then data will become useless. If data becomes useless, your white color line will be wrong, and so your blue color line will be wrong, and then results cannot be achieved. And now measurement error can be controlled by learning a tool called Gauge R&R, where R&R stands for repeatability and reproducibility error, right? And then histogram is again a QC tool which will tell you how your data is distributed, whether your data is normally distributed or not normally distributed. If it is normally distributed, it is very easier for us because we have mastered normal distribution. Even if it is not normally distributed, still there is a way to solve the problem. Still there is a way to make your data again normal again. Even if you can't convert the data to normal, still you can handle the problem and solve the problem with your knowledge on normal distribution. For that, you have to really go a little more advanced level, and then you can solve 100% of the problem, right? And control chart is again a QC tool which will tell you whether your results are consistent or not. If the results are consistent, results can be improved. If results are not consistent, please focus on making your results consistent. If results are not consistent, processes are not in place. If processes are not in place, you have no role to play there, isn't it? We as managers, we as professionals, we are meant for process improvement only. If processes are not there, then we have to create processes and create the process and make your process produce consistent result. And then only the next stage comes. What is the next stage? Process improvement. And without getting consistent result, trying to improve the result, no, is like focusing on constructing your first floor and second floor, keeping your foundation weak. Don't do that. Consistency is the major concern. So control chart, all of you must necessarily plot. Whatever business you are doing, you should be able to produce results consistently. If you produce results consistently, I will tell you the way to improve your results. If your results are not consistent, your first project is making your result consistent. And the approach is statistical process control, right? And that is what control chart is important. And check sheet is nothing but your data collection sheet. The measure phase deliverable. Validated measurement system. You will know about your measurement system. Is my measurement system capable? Is my measurement system adequate? And then I will have my baseline performance. What is my baseline performance? My current level. Where do I stand as of now? My goal is there and I am here. And now what is the gap? I understand. So this is the kind of report a gauge R&R study will produce. You will get the gauge R&R value. Here you are seeing 4.27. This is what I said. The gauge R&R should be less than 10%. These are guidelines prescribed by certain bodies, particularly it is called the AIAG, Automotive Industry Action Group. According to them, the measurement error in any project should be less than 10%. It is not only applicable to automotive industries, also applicable to all other industries, including software and IT and other service industries, right? And if your results are not healthy, if your data is not free from error, and with the kind of data you collected, you can generate 6 graphs. And by properly understanding the graphs one by one, you can figure out the root of the problem, why the measurement is coming with a lot of error. And so you can rule out, right? And now moving on to the analysis phase. Probably after analysis, we'll again revert back to the Six Sigma situation. And now the important questions. Have you identified the source of waste, risk, and variation? Any business problem can come only from the 3 sources. Either there will be variation, or there will be risk associated, or there will be waste associated. If you know how to measure the waste, how to measure the risk, how to measure the variation, if you also know how to control them, then you are a leader in your organization, right? So please learn and upskill yourself to measure the waste, risk, and variation. If you could measure, you could also control them with your analysis tools and techniques. And the analysis phase, it is very important you understand the potential factors, and then from the list of potential factor, and the main goal is we want to identify the root cause. Not only identify the root cause, you validate the root cause. And all those things we will see that with the good examples. And then very important, has the validated factor sufficient to produce the result? What do I mean by sufficient to produce the result? A crime has happened. You caught a criminal, right? And whether just one criminal has done the crime or a group is involved. If a group is involved, then probably you have to arrest everyone, isn't it? Arrest everyone and kill everyone, and so that the problem is solved, or at least punish everyone. So this is called a sufficiency. Sometimes the problem can come from a single root cause. Sometimes the problem can come from multiple root causes. So if there are multiple root causes, multiple critical factor, then you have to address all the critical factors. And now, after